Hi, everybody. Very good morning. So today I'll just share my screen. Please confirm once you are able to see the screen. Please confirm. I've shared the screen now and also my voice is audible. Please raise your hand and confirm. Okay, thank you. uh, I just go back to I'll go back to my app component. This is where we were last time. We were onto the button and I was just talking about how to, I'm just going to localhost. I already started the server. The localhost, this is how the refresh happens in the localhost. So there are, when we develop the web page or anything, there is one called in inspect element. There is a one component called lighthouse or how the entire performance is, right? There is a page for that. So I'll just open it in the new page. So you can keep referring to this page, analyze the page load if you do. So it will perform that, how fast it is, how effective it is, all that. So then and there you can check this and improve on your performance, etc. You can improve on that as well. So that is also possible. I'm just giving it. This is one of the important candidate available with Chrome and almost, I'm not sure about other versions of the browsers, but it is available in the Chrome. So this will help you to know, are you making the right sense or not, right? So it will give you that update over here. So in our case, of course, we are not developing any web page here. So that's why it is not showing anything. But this is another important page that you can uh, keep it for your reference. So it is under inspect element. Lighthouse is the place that is give you the performance, how good is your page performances. SEO is service engine optimization, very important from the web page development for a website, right? Not application, it is a website. PWO is for progressive web app. Progressive web app is an application content but supports both mobile device as well as a desktop. So it supports both that. So that is PWA. PWA is a separate package you need to install in Angular. So this is the general performance. This is the general accessibility. Accessibility is all about tooltips, whether you are given a proper tooltip or not, whether the image is properly given a width and height or not. Those kind of informations are important from the accessibility point of view. So any web page you design, you can go through this rather than waiting for the final update from the end customer. So it will give you how fast that page is, etc., etc. In our case, there is no, currently what we are doing is only on the page level. We are not interacting with the any of the third party services. Because of that, you may not get it, but I just thought I'll keep an information on that as well. So as we integrate, we'll refer that as well as we go. Last class, we have seen Angular material, how to integrate the Angular material, and how we define the button with primary color, accent color, warning color. There are three default colors supported by the Angular material framework. Angular material framework, if you go to the right hand side and again inspect element, if you click on this, I'll just go back here. I'll try to click on an element that is nothing but my button. If you see the right hand side, you can see matte flat button, matte raised button, right? That CSS is comes into make it is available now for you to look at what all the changes you have. So padding, you can see the padding is used, border radius is used. Border radius is the one which will give you the curvature over here. the my button, left hand side corner, right hand side corner, bottom, you see a slight curvature that is coming from radius. So this automatically gets added, provided please ensure that you add that module. So when you go here, app module, you add that button module, mat button module as part of Angular material button. How I get this information? This comes from a web page. This web page, button Angular material API. Under the API, the top import mat button module from Angular material button. So this is the one you have to just copy paste and put it inside the Angular module, app.module. Inside that app module, once you put that, you need to add it as part of the imports. Modules is nothing but collection of classes, multiple collection of classes. It includes some CSS reference, everything. If you want to know more about that, you can go inside the button and you can check that code. So there are a lot of integrations required. Please make sure please make sure that integrations are intact. If integration is not there, then you may not see that real, even though you have given the code, appropriate code, you have put the button directive, mat raise button directive, even though you have given this directive, but it will not be having any impact. Okay, so you have to ensure that this will, if the impact has to come, you need to ensure that you have to have that module integrated. Okay, straightforward. But if it is you, the first day you notice that we missed on this, we have not added it properly. Okay, perfect. So what in our real project, what we do is, I'm just opening another project. I think this project also will be there. In this project, we have that material, entire material component as one of our candidate, top level candidate. I'm just trying to open some of the package which is integrated with Angular. I'll just, this has a both middleware, everything. So in that, if you see here, we have that material.ts itself. So we include all the components that we use as part of it and then make it as exportable. And that export, we use it in our major component. These are all multiple directive we use. In every directive, there is a, this is what routing I was talking about. So in this, you can see material itself is used, material module. So material module, it will load all the components that is required directly. So we don't have to worry about. So this kind of a thing, we will generally do it from the behind the scene perspective. All the simplification we can take a care once you are familiarized with all these concepts of what is module, how to integrate the module, etc., etc. Then I don't have to load individual modules in the respective places. According to the web page or according to the page you are using, that required for that page, you need to load that. That is why it is extremely simplified so that you don't have to load bulk. So all these components are very small in size. Now today we touch upon input box. When I say input box, we talk about two things. One is default input box that we generally use using input tag. In so-called Angular, we have called mat form field. All form fields are grouped together, and that form fields are called mat form field. So if you see here, mat form field is basically a wrapper. It doesn't have anything on its own. Using that wrapper, if you give your input box, then automatically the shape, the way the input box is shown, all automatically gets changed. So if you go here, I'll just go to the directly input box. If I take the help of that input box, so don't try to see, there are certain things, Angular material, you go with the whatever the proper version you are using. You can change the version also. If you are using older version, you can go to that older version for that documentation. It is very neatly presented. It helps you to understand the syntax of it as per the documentation. More or less in this area, there are no changes, but still. So if you put within the mat form field, this is the wrapper. Within the mat form field, if I put the input and give a mat input, you will see a difference. I'll do it without that. Let us just say, I'll copy paste within this div. I'll just put the input box. Without input box doesn't require a closing tag. This I have discussed it earlier also. Input box doesn't require a closing tag, because whatever you give, it is part of this. Right now, I'm not interacting this input box inside my behind the scene. That is this code. I'm not interacting right now. Okay. So for interacting that, what needs to be done, I'll let you know. Okay. So now I close it. Input, I just save it. Automatically gets compiled because I already started this ng compiler, ngserve. So whenever I save it, automatically it gets recompiled and it comes to that page. Our page, fsdev. You can see the input box is of the left hand side and there is a default border. Okay. So this is your standard input box. Now I just go with mat form field. I'll just take this entire thing, copy paste. There are a lot of advantages with this. I'm not taking the form now. I'm just taking the mat form field. I copy pasted, no change to anything. I just copy pasted. It doesn't require a, but this input, I need to add it as a module. You need to ensure that it is added as a module. So if I go here, I just go to the app module, input, mat input module I've added. For form field, you can just check whether form field has a, so I have to add this also. I have to add copy paste because I'm using mat form field. I need to add this as part of the module as well. Hierarchy, there is no hierarchy of which one has to be added first or which one has to be added next. There is no such hierarchy, but control KS for all. Mat form field, I have added that as well. Then I saved this. Anyway, I have copy pasted this HTML. Mat form field. Forget about class. This class and all, we have not used it now. We don't have any class now, which is effective. So placeholder, he has just given some placeholder. That is fine. I just save it. Automatically gets compiled. Automatically compilation is over. I go to here. You can see here that mat form field, this is the sushi, that is that without any form, just directly added. I'll just put this up, put this in one more div, put it here, mat form field, control Fs, save it, compiled is already compiled, going here. So sushi, because there is a input, he is changing the input. That input is now changed with bottom border automatically. And top also got changed because there is a class which is done at the input level. Because it is done at the input level, because of the form field, that is taken over by this, right? I'll remove this mat input. I'll remove this mat input. I'll remove that mat input because mat input is having its own class. That's a directive. I control FS, compiled, done, go back. You can see the top one will remain in the same way because of the mat input, it has got changed. If you try to understand that better, right click on it, inspect element. You can see that mat form field is there, mat form field, typography. Mat input is nothing but one of your directive. Mat input, mat form field, deep amber. This is the CSS from where this form field is getting loaded. It is coming from deep purple amber CSS, deep purple amber CSS. That is where that data is coming from. So very important, that is you need to understand. Another is there is called appearance. That is appearance. There are two things here. One is called mat form field appearance fill. There are two different types of appearance also. So that also you can, I'm just going back to my code. So mat appearance also you can give as part of the attributes of the mat form field. That documentation will give you all the features available with the mat form field. This is the feature. If I go to overview, so if I go to click appearance fill, this is one of the, one is standard, another is fill. Only he supports two things. Color, everything he takes care of. So if I just save it, if I just put appearance fill here, it is a name value pair. That means it's an attribute. Once these attributes are not pre-configured for that. If I go here, save it, you can see here that grayish background, right? If I just put here div align center save all, you can see that it is coming to the center. Okay, so because at the div level, div is a full tag. In that align is as attribute that I have used with the center attribute. Because of that, it has, since div is for full page, it has taken this way. If I want div to be 50%, then I can declare here style width 50%. I can declare it like this as well. Within 50%, center is applied. Within 50% of the div, center is applied. All this game that you play with the CSS, the way of layout alignment is purely a CSS play. And you can see the light grayish background, right? This mat label is, when I remove this value here, that is called placeholder, X pizza, example pizza, right? That is placeholder. That is what you are seeing it here. When no data is there, this placeholder is visible. When data is there, label is visible. If you don't give the label at all, if I don't give the label at all, then FS, save it. I've commented that label, I use control slash, forward slash. Okay, control for. Now you can see, remove this value, X pizza is used. When label is not there, right, what are the value you can give that as well. So placeholder is there. You can assign the value, default value if you want to assign. We don't want this data to be hard coded actually. We want this data, if at all it has to come, it has to come from here. So if I want to transfer the data, whatever I give here, then I can say blur. That means moving out of the input box. Moving out of the input box, blur, right? Whenever I moved out of the input box, I want to check get input IP value. I just put get IP value. Then if I just put input event, I just put event to just dot value. Get input app dot component. I'm just trying on. It is on blur only, but I put it underneath the class. Please remember our class that we have used. So it is a string actually. Console log. I just giving one way of sending the output. Input value is comma val. Control Fs. That is called ng model. In Angular, we don't pass this value in this way. We don't use the event dot value. We use ng model. That is one way. Another way is form control. Since we have not touched upon the form control, I am not taking that now. As I go, I will take that as well. So I'll just see event dot value. Let me just put event dot value. Just see what it shows. Is it giving an error or is it showing really a value? If it is error, you will get that error here. Property value does not exist on focus type event dot value. It doesn't accept. So there is nothing like this. There is no value such thing. So I'll just save it. So here also there is no function called event. That means I cannot directly pass any value through this event because that input doesn't support event as an attribute. It doesn't support. Okay. So what we generally do is ng model. ng model means there are multiple concepts. One is taking the value from outside to inside. Another is value from HTML to code, HTML to code, code to HTML. There are called two-way binding. One is from binding the value from code, that is TS is my code, TS to HTML. One way of taking the data inside this input. Another way is from input, whatever the user gives the value from input, taking the value out. Right? That is called ng model. So you have called two-way binding. So two-way binding goes like this. This is called two-way binding, putting it within curly braces and square braces. Sorry, within square braces and outer normal parenthesis. So here I just say ng model. ng model, this is called two-way binding. And here you give the param name. I just give param name. So this param name should have been defined in your app component. Here param name equals say hello. That is default value. Param name is default value. Then I don't need to now to get this value out. I just put get value. I don't need pass parameter or anything. I don't need a parameter. I just take the parameter that I have already declared. That is nothing but param name. Please keep a note on the way I'm integrating between HTML and code behind. The code behind are nothing but this is always goes with this. This we have explained because whatever inside the class, the value is available inside the functions with this component, this dot param name, right? So this dot param name hello is given assigned value. That value is now predefined, that is default value. That default value is bound. We are binding that value to this input. So using ng model del, make sure, then param name, and I'm doing a two-way binding. This is for binding, this is for output. Curly braces is for output. Curly braces I use blur, that is for output. Right? On blur, I take this output also param name. So let us see how it works. Compilation might have happened already. Angular XPizza, what is that? Two-way binding syntax parenthesis should be inside. Okay, parenthesis should be inside that is pure beautiful. I used to get this confusion. Usually I do not get the help. This time I am getting the help as well. So what he is saying is, ng model warning, in the two-way binding syntax, the parenthesis should be inside the brackets. Inside the bracket, parenthesis has to be there. This is corrected now. I save it. Make sure there is no compilation error. Cannot bind ng model since it is not a known property of ng model. Is there a separate ng model is default used? I'll just check the documentation for ng model. Because in Angular material, ng model is not supported directly. It is separate. It's a old feature. ng model is a old feature. I'll just check whether it has any thing that I have to do. I don't think it require anything. Directly it supports. Somewhere I'm making a mistake. Value changes and all is fine. There is no AP, it's a directive. Okay. It's not supported, he's saying. This is correct. ng model is correct. Pizza is right. Input is right. Param name is right. Blur is okay. ng model close parenthesis. It is correct only. Form field. Let me just check here. Add this. Put it here. He supports there or not, I'll just check. Any error is coming or not coming. No. This also is saying not assigned to type string. This is a two-way binding. Param name. Known property of input. It is mat input is required. Mat input is there. Mat form field is there. Mat input is there. Mat form field is there. Directly take. Yeah, it is now compiled. Let us take this param name. Let us see what happens. ng model fsdev example pizza hello. So if I try to blur that, blur, I put it here. I put it here. Control Fs. I have the console log here. Console log. So if I try to make sure it compiled, yes, give the value my pizza tab. Let's check whether the value is appearing. Input value is hello. So this is binding as not my pizza is the input that I have given. That my pizza is not moving to the control. So that is not happening. So we'll see that as we go. So this will see why it is not happening. We'll see because it is model param name, input is given, type is by default type, the default type is string. I have given the string name only as a value, param name hello. That param name is appeared here, not through the, so that means it is not, ng model is not yet triggered properly. So that is not triggering properly. So this is not accepting that. This is not accepting that. Is not inside the template component. Something I'm missing somewhere. I think I have to declare ng model. I have to declare it. Add input known property of input. Somewhere. I'll just get back to you on this. It is some mistake is happening. ng
Sir,
model.
do we need to, excuse me, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Do we need to import the form module?
Module. Form module. That's what I thought. I don't need it. That's why I'm not importing that, because form module is different.
Okay, sir.
So form module is for mat form control. It is not for ng model, but some dependency is there. We'll just find it out. I just wanted to take this as a example and then find it out. Anyway, form module, I'll try to give form module. That is also okay. I can give it and then try. Input is there, mat input module is there, because input module, it is a derivative of input module. Anyway, I'll check and come back. Not let us not waste time on this now. We'll again come back tomorrow on this. Let me find out what exactly required, what I missed out. Okay. Now the next thing is that we proceed further. So map form field is basically a candidate for a group. That's a wrapper. Inside the wrapper, if you use the fill, you can that fill candidate or outline. There are two options. One is fill, another is outline. Outline it look like this, the way you see here. So instead of fill, if you put outline, instead of fill that you have given here, I just say outline. Then it will show one small outline, it will show. And by default, mat form field is not a what do you call, it is not a blocking candidate. It is, you can have it side by side as well. I'll just put one more. One I give it as, it's a 50% div. Inside that 50%, I'll just make it as 100% now, or I don't need, without doing anything. That means by default it is 100%. One I put it as fill, another I put it as normal. Save all. So let us see this. I'll remove that. I'll remove this now. For time being, I'll remove this. Control FS. So scheduled. You can see it is a side by side. This one is outline. This is the fill. You can see the CSS also varies. So when I mouse over, the outline is thicker, whereas in fill, the only bottom line is thicker. Right? You can see the favorite food goes to the top automatically. It goes to the top favorite food, right? Automatically it goes, the label goes there. That is mat label. So hello, if I type, then it goes to the next my button. So hello is the one that I've typed the value. So that is how you take it. So here you can give example name of the person, name of the food. Instead of favorite food, I say name, person name of the person. I can give anything here. The person name here. All this, how we are not done any CSS as of now. It automatically system takes care of because it is an Angular material. Angular material, because we are using the default CSS, it automatically takes care of. This is mat form field. Within form field acts as a wrapper. Form fields works for input like this. Select, that is drop down. Drop down is called select. That also we'll see as we go. Mat drop down, that is select. Whether it is a multi select, whether it is a single select, whether it is a multi what do you call auto complete, that means filterable select, any type of select you can use this. So it is available as part of when I'm typing. I should be careful. I think I removed the back button. Because of that, it has replaced. So you can now you can see name of the person is example, favorite food. All these are available here. So if I don't want label, I don't want the label to be there on the top, then it is called form label, I think. I'll just check that. Form label provider, label provider. Mat label, mat appearance, fill, go to API, mat form field, input ID, input, hide record, hint. We can use all this. Hint, float label. Float label, never. I don't need that value. It's a never. If I put it never, control Fs, then this label will not appear. Label, what happened? Hey, everything failing. Add form field outline is okay. Form label. I'll remove this. Yeah. If I give here person name, no, it is still appearing. Favorite full appearance. Float label, never I have given. Float label always is there. Auto is there. Float label, never. I think it is never only. It's a binding. Never I am binding to float label, but it is still appearing. That is also a mistake. Something wrong with my binding. Float label is correct. Either I have to give like this or I have to give like this. That is all fine. It is still appearing. Float label should not appear for us. That is what, if you want label, there is a concept called float label. That float label, it should make sure float label type, input float labels, whether the float is float as a user type, always as a user type. Okay. Boolean disabled, focus use placeholder. Should label float, whether, okay. Float always, never. It is there. Whether the label type, float label, whether always, never, or auto, only when necessary. So never is there as part of the float label, but unfortunately it is not working for me. Some mistake somewhere is happening. Never means it becomes a value. Binding means it is okay. Person name, label, mat form field, placeholder. It is correct only. These are all working in projects, but somehow it is not working here. Let me see. Let me find out all that. So anyway, this is how you give, but when you give it, it is supposed to it should not show this person name on the top. When there is no value, he will show that value. When the value is there, he will not show that value at all. So that is the way that is defined for that. So two things I need to come back to you. One, on this input, why that parameter ng model is not accepting, that I have to come back, and this float label is not getting set, that also I'll come back. Sometimes it happens, you know. So now when I go back, this is how it is. So it is right now, it is going here, it will not go there. It will be by default, this will not appear here at all. So I'll just put this maybe Control C. I'll just check here as well whether it is appearing or not appearing. Yeah, it is going there. So it should not go there at all. Anyway, so these two I'll come back. So this is about input. Input with outline as a one concept. Another concept is with appearance fill. So you don't need any of this appearance. You can have that as well. So without appearance, you can put it as well. So tomorrow we'll talk about select, how to do a drop down. That also we'll see tomorrow. So never, I'll just put. Oh, so there is one more now. Oh, that is great. So it is not appearing for without appearance. So if I don't put an appearance, it is working. If I put an appearance, it is not working. This is new to you. Okay, mat form field, person name. Now you can see that it is going as a label, and float label, if I give it control, never, then it doesn't show. Now it doesn't show. So there is a difference between the way you set it up. So that means when appearance is there, it is always available. When appearance is not there, then it is accepting that float label. Okay. So that is another learning that we are having now. So that is form field, float label never. In this case, it has not appeared. So that is the thing. So input box, tomorrow we'll see about select. We'll see about select, that is the same form field. We'll see how to do a multi-select, single select, all that, and how to bind the data, input data to the code behind, that also we'll see. So there is some parameter, that is some attribute that I'm missing. I'll just check that and come back to you. Okay, so with this, we'll end today's session. We learned about input. Once we do this select, checkbox, radio button, we'll try to cover select, radio button, and checkbox tomorrow. Once this is done, we are more or less ready for a form design. So that means we can remove this, we'll go to the routing, then we'll get into the form design. That is more than sufficient for, as of now, I have not touched any of the additional CSS. I'm using only the standard CSS that is default supported by the material design, right? Okay, I leave it at this. Just make sure you have this mat form field level, multiple things tested with different div, use span without div, try to give a space margin, top margin, side margin, right? All that try to give some, apply some CSS, additional CSS, and try to see in that way. Try to stretch it to some more level so that you are completely thorough on this mat form field side. Thank you. I leave it at this today. So tomorrow we'll cover up select, checkbox, radio button, and group radio button, individual radio button as a group radio button. All these three will cover it. Okay. Thank you from All. Any questions? Of course, you can let me know. If you have any questions, let me know before I close the day. I hope you are all practicing. I'm assuming that you all practice, because with so many projects we are working, still we are having issues. You can remember, because it's a regular affair for us, we just do a standard operations. So we don't get into this basic problems, right? But anyway, that's how the life is. So the technology is so vast. So any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll cover tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Bye. You can stop.